What if I told you that there was a day when the sun almost didn't rise? Not because of an eclipse, not because of a natural disaster, but because the most powerful god in ancient Egypt threw the ultimate tantrum and refused to do his job. This is the story of the morning when Ra, the sun god himself, decided he'd had enough of humanity's disrespect and nearly plunged the world into eternal darkness. And what happened next would change Egyptian mythology forever. But here's the twist nobody talks about. This wasn't just a myth. This was ancient Egypt's way of recording the most catastrophic solar event in human history. Welcome to one of the most explosive stories ever buried in ancient Egyptian texts. While most people know Ra as the mighty sun god who rides his solar bark across the sky every day, almost nobody knows about the time he went on strike and nearly destroyed all of creation in the process. We're about to dive into forbidden papyrus scrolls, decode mysterious hieroglyphs, and uncover a story so dangerous that Egyptian priests tried to erase it from history. This isn't your typical mythology lesson. This is the untold story of divine rebellion, cosmic chaos, and the day the gods themselves almost ended the world. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this story was hidden, what it really means, and how it connects to mysterious solar events that scientists still can't fully explain. Picture this. It's dawn in ancient Egypt, around 3,000 years ago. The Nile fishermen are preparing their boats, farmers are heading to their fields. Priests are climbing the temple steps to perform the sacred morning ritual that ensures Ra will rise and bring light to the world. But something goes wrong. The eastern horizon remains dark. The sky doesn't lighten. The sun doesn't appear. For the first time in recorded history, morning doesn't come. Panic spreads across Egypt. Priests frantically burn incense and chant louder prayers. The pharaoh himself rushes to the great temple of Heliopolis, demanding answers from the high priests. But in the celestial realm, something unprecedented is happening. Ra, the eternal sun god, is sitting in his solar bark with his arms crossed, refusing to begin his daily journey across the sky. For the first time in eternity, the sun god has gone on strike. But why? What could possibly make the most powerful deity in the Egyptian pantheon refuse to do the one job he was literally created for? The answer lies in a collection of papyrus fragments discovered in a hidden chamber beneath the Temple of Ra in Heliopolis. These texts, known as the Papyrus of the Dark Dawn, were deliberately hidden by ancient priests and only rediscovered in 1923. According to these forbidden texts, Ra had grown disgusted with humanity. Not because of their sins, not because of their failures, but because of their ingratitude. Think about it. Every single day for thousands of years, Ra had faithfully risen in the east, traveled across the sky, battled the serpent of chaos Apophis in the underworld, and risen again the next morning. He had never taken a vacation, never called in sick, never asked for appreciation. But humans had started taking his daily miracle for granted. They stopped building temples in his honor. They stopped offering proper sacrifices. Worse, they had begun worshipping newer, flashier gods and relegating Ra to background deity status. So Ra made a decision that would shake the very foundations of reality. If humans did not appreciate the sun, maybe they didn't deserve it. What happened next reads like the most epic breakdown in mythological history. Ra didn't just refuse to rise. He began systematically dismantling the cosmic order he had spent eons creating. According to the papyrus texts, he started by calling back all the light he had ever given to the world. Stars began winking out. The moon dimmed to a pale shadow. Even fire itself began to weaken, as if the fundamental essence of light and heat was being withdrawn from reality. But Ra wasn't finished. In his fury, he began sending plagues across Egypt that make the 10 plagues of Moses look like minor inconveniences. Rivers of blood, swarms of supernatural insects, diseases that could kill with a glance. The other gods watched in horror as their king and creator threatened to unmake everything they had built together. Even Isis, known for her wisdom, couldn't reason with him. Even Thoth, the god of knowledge, couldn't find words to calm his rage. Ra had become something more dangerous than any monster, a creator god having an existential crisis. As Egypt plunged deeper into supernatural chaos, the remaining gods realized they had to act. But how do you stop the sun god when he controls the very source of all energy in the universe? The answer came from an unexpected source: Hathor, the goddess of love and joy. But here's where the story gets really dark. The plan the gods came up with wasn't negotiation or appeasement. It was deception on a cosmic scale. They decided to get Ra drunk, not just regular drunk, mythologically, catastrophically, reality-bendingly drunk. The gods brewed a special beer mixed with the blood-red ochre that gave it the appearance of human blood. They flooded the land with this intoxicating mixture, telling Ra it was the blood of the humans who had disrespected him. Ra, still furious and wanting revenge, began drinking the blood beer with savage satisfaction. He drank and drank, believing he was consuming the life force of ungrateful humanity. But as the alcohol took effect, something unexpected happened. Ra's rage began to transform into something else: melancholy. Picture the most powerful being in existence, sitting in his solar chariot, absolutely wasted on divine beer, having the cosmic equivalent of a 3 a.m. breakdown. As Ra's anger faded, he began to see what his tantrum had accomplished. Egypt was in ruins. His people were suffering. The cosmic order he had spent millennia perfecting was collapsing. But more than that, he realized something profound. His anger had revealed a truth he didn't want to face. He wasn't angry because humans didn't appreciate him. He was angry because he had started to doubt his own worth. For eons, Ra had defined himself entirely by his role as the sun god. But what was a sun god without people to shine for? What was a creator without a creation to nurture? In his drunken state, Ra experienced something unprecedented for a cosmic deity: an identity crisis. When Ra finally sobered up and saw the destruction his tantrum had caused, he was horrified. But divine actions have divine consequences. The cosmic order had been broken, and simply resuming his daily journey wouldn't fix everything. Something had fundamentally changed in the relationship between gods and humans. The automatic, unquestioned worship was gone. Trust had been shattered. The contract between divinity and mortality needed to be renegotiated. So Ra made a decision that would reshape Egyptian religion forever. He would share his power. Instead of being the sole all-powerful sun god, he began delegating aspects of his authority to other deities. Khepri would handle the morning sun. Ra himself would rule the noon sun. Atum would govern the evening sun. More importantly, he established a new covenant with humanity. No longer would his daily rise be taken for granted. Humans would need to actively participate in ensuring the sun's return through daily rituals, prayers, and offerings. The sun would rise, but only if humans proved every single day that they deserved it. But here's what makes this story truly fascinating. Modern solar physicists have discovered evidence of massive solar anomalies that occurred around the time this myth was supposedly created. Ice core samples from Greenland show evidence of a significant reduction in solar radiation around 1000 BCE. Chinese astronomical records from the same period describe days when the sun appeared weak or dim. Even Mayan texts reference a time when the sun god became angry and withdrew his light. Could the myth of Ra's morning refusal actually be ancient humanity, his way of recording a real solar event? A massive solar minimum that caused worldwide climate disruption and agricultural collapse? Some researchers believe that ancient peoples interpreted natural disasters through their religious frameworks, creating myths that preserved actual historical events in symbolic form. If this theory is correct, then the story of Ra's rebellion isn't just mythology, it's humanity's oldest recorded solar weather report. The story of Ra's morning refusal fundamentally changed how ancient Egyptians thought about their relationship with the divine. No longer were the gods distant, perfect beings who could be relied upon unconditionally. They were complex entities with emotions, needs, and limitations. They could be hurt by neglect, angered by disrespect, and moved by genuine devotion. This psychological shift created some of the most sophisticated religious practices in human history. Egyptian daily rituals weren't just acts of worship. They were active participation in maintaining cosmic order. Every morning, prayer was a negotiation. Every offering was a contract renewal. Every temple ceremony was humanity's way of saying, "We remember, we appreciate, we deserve another day." In our current age of climate change and environmental destruction, the story of Ra's morning refusal carries an unsettling relevance. We've spent the last century taking our planet's life-giving systems for granted, just as the ancient Egyptians took Ra's daily gift for granted. We've polluted the air, poisoned the waters, and destabilized the climate, all while assuming that the sun would always rise and the earth would always provide. But what if it doesn't? What if the natural systems we depend on are more fragile than we think? What if our planet's patience has limits, just like Ra's did? The ancient Egyptians learned that divine favor must be earned daily. Perhaps it's time we learned the same lesson about planetary stewardship. There's one final mystery surrounding this story that historians still can't explain. Why was it hidden? The Papyrus of the Dark Dawn was deliberately concealed beneath the Temple of Ra, wrapped in lead sheets and buried behind false walls. Someone went to extraordinary lengths to make sure this story wouldn't be found. But why? What was so dangerous about this myth that it needed to be erased from Egyptian religious texts? Some scholars believe it was because the story revealed too much about the gods' limitations and vulnerabilities. If people knew that even Ra could have emotional breakdowns and make catastrophic mistakes, it might undermine the entire foundation of divine authority. Others think the story was hidden because it contained actual historical information about solar events that the priest wanted to keep secret. Knowledge is power, and solar prediction would have been incredibly valuable in ancient times. But there's a third, more disturbing possibility. The story was hidden because it's not finished. According to some interpretations of the papyrus fragments, Ra's morning refusal wasn't a one-time event. It was the first of 3 cosmic tantrums that the sun god would throw throughout human history. The second tantrum allegedly occurred during the Bronze Age collapse around 1200 BCE, causing widespread civilization failure across the Mediterranean. And the third? According to these forbidden texts, it's still coming. The story of Ra's morning refusal is more than just ancient mythology. It's a psychological profile of power, responsibility, and the dangerous consequences of taking essential things for granted. Whether you interpret it as literal divine history, symbolic environmental warning, or ancient record of solar phenomena, the message remains the same. The forces that sustain life are more fragile and complex than we assume. Every morning when the sun rises, we're witnessing the renewal of an ancient contract between humanity and the cosmos, a contract that requires appreciation, respect, and active participation to maintain. The question isn't whether the sun will rise tomorrow. The question is whether we'll prove we deserve it. What do you think? Was Ra's morning refusal just mythology? Or could it be humanity's oldest warning about environmental catastrophe? Let me know in the comments below, and if you want to explore more hidden stories from ancient Egypt, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Because the ancients left us more warnings than we realize. We just have to know where to look for them. And remember, the next time you watch the sunrise, you might want to say thank you. You never know who might be listening.